Today, I'm going to try to beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Platinum with only Steel-type Pokemon. Now, we all know Steel types are great on the whole, and typically excel in physical attack and defense in particular, but can be quite slow. With that said, in Platinum, I foresee a bunch of difficult challenges, almost as if this game was designed to counter them. With a solid set of potential Pokemon encounters to work with, combined with a game that seeks to thwart them at all costs, this is sure to be an interesting and strategic challenge. Not gonna lie, I'm a bit scared, but let's see if we can beat Pokemon Platinum with only the first Steel type that we find on each route, no items in battle, level caps in place, and the battle mode on set at all times. Alright, about a month ago, I bet my fiance my left glove that I wouldn't be able to find a new game that I play as much as Pokemon over the next month. Then, Ubisoft reached out to me to introduce me to today's sponsor, Clash of Beasts. And you know, it's strange, my left hand's been kinda cold ever since. That's Canada for you. Clash of Beasts is a tower defense game with RPG elements, making it easy for casual players, as well as those who love strategy, and I know you Poke fans slot right into that camp. The game is free to play and available on iOS, Android, and Google PC, and you can download it using my link in the description. Command a team of up to 4 beasts in battle, and oh my, can you ever look handsome doing so. Switch up your team composition each battle and use their unique abilities such as AoE heals in order to get past and destroy the opposition's base. Timing your abilities is crucial as bases have different kinds of defenses such as the Razor Tower that shoots spinning blades and shreds armor, and the Barrel Tower which fires exploding barrels to target the back line. Make your way through their defenses and destroy their city to claim victory. You'll have over 40 unique beasts to collect and command, from ancient dragons to lower ground Vorgoth, each categorized into classes like tank, rogue, mage, and warrior, as well as different affinities too. These affinities play a crucial role in battle, with each having the ability to counter another. Customize and upgrade your beasts to maximize the advantages of these affinities and dominate your enemies. As a beastmaster, you'll need to use strategy to place defensive towers on your island to fend off raiders and protect your base. Equally crucial though is the development of your island. You decide whether to prioritize offense, reinforce your defenses to protect your loot, or focus on resource management to thrive. Download Clash of Beasts today using the link below or by scanning the QR code. Check out the starter pack that's only available to new players. Plus, the seasonal pass is your key to leveling up faster and mastering your early game. You can also redeem the gift code COB Sylvespectre 2024 to receive a bunch of gems and scrolls, which will give you a very strong start. I'll see you on the battlefield. The Sinnoh region, pure nostalgia everywhere, and also where the number of legendaries and mythicals in the series started going crazy, with 14 in total. I mean, remember the days of like 6 or less? But hey, if we get things like Giratina and Darkrai, I'm not gonna complain. Well, Barry getting us into trouble ends up giving us an opportunity to pick a starter Pokemon, not setting a very good example for the children playing this game, Barry. And this is one of those rare instances in which our starter will be able to be kept, as Piplup does eventually evolve into a Steel type. Right away, Barry challenges us to battle, and boy oh boy did Game Freak ever decide to be annoying at the start of this one, programming Turtwig so it repeatedly uses Withdraw to raise its defense, and with us only having Pound at this point, it took a damn while to get through it, which also got pretty damn scary as we were doing like 1 HP damage and it was doing a quarter damage on us per tackle. Barely made it through that one. Oh yay, thanks mom! My first running shoes ever at age, what, like 12? We never got the official canon ages of Lucas and Dawn, did we? At the lab, I decided to nickname our Piplup Hydrogenix. I mean, there are like a billion ways that could be pronounced. Hydrogenix? 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 That doesn't even make sense, that last one. Okay, never mind. Hydrogen X, the water version of the Boomer's children. Anyway, we'll see if I use them interchangeably like an idiot. Rowan also gives us the Return TM, a great 102 power move when your Pokemon actually love you. Good old Sand Gem Town with the pathway to Route 219 to the south, which people often forget even exists. But once you get Surf, ooh boy, do some great things ever await us beyond the shores that can serve as the antidote to many of our problems. We'll cross that patch of water when we come to it. After Dawn gives us some Pokeballs and fortunately doesn't battle us, unlike in some ROM hacks, we next arrive in Jubilife City where we run into Looker. Man, I love that theory that Looker was that police guy on the SS Anne who later fell off the ship and washed up in Hoenn. Oh, thanks, the Versus Recorder. That absolutely necessary feature that hasn't been present since Generation 7. Oh man, EV training a future Empoleon is great up north on Route 204, as I love training mine in HP and special attack, which Bidoof and Badoo are perfect for. Leaving Jubilife, we run into Barry once more, except this time he has a scarier team. A common trend in this game. With nothing but Piplup still, it's quite a frightening battle, especially because his Starly repeatedly uses Growl to lower our attack. Thankfully for it, we have Bubble, which is special and therefore unaffected, but by the time we get to Turtwig, I'm sure you can see why this is a problem. With our attack at like -4 and him using Withdraw, weirdly enough, our best option is now Bubble against it, a resisted move. Fortunately, he did miss a tackle and kept spamming Withdraw. Doesn't have his father's natural talents in battling, I guess. So we managed to pull through what was ultimately a very lengthy but successful process. Up ahead, we made it to Orberg City where the first gym is, but we actually have another encounter we can grab first in the Orberg Mine. Unfortunately, it is just a 10% encounter and took forever to find, but eventually we found it, Onyx. And I tried the one Dusk Ball that you can get at this point, which would have been cool, but nope, didn't work. If only Sturdy worked like it does in later gens, we could have brought it to 1 HP for an easy capture, but oh well. At least we got the damn thing. I name him Viacroid and realize we haven't checked our natures yet. Turns out Hydrogenix has a lonely plus attack and minus defense nature, meh. Whereas Viacroid has a mild plus special attack and minus defense 1. Both quite bad, but not the worst you could get, I guess. Well, it's time for the first gym leader, Roark, the Rock Trainer. Now technically neither of our Pokemon have the Steel type yet, but they're the closest we can get by this point, although after this we'll get some actual Steel types, so we won't use them after that until they evolve. Now oddly enough, Roark can be a bit scary even with a Piplup on our side. I lead with Hydrogenix against his Geodude, and we can immediately one-hit KO it with a 4x super effective Bubble. Then comes his Onix, which launches Stealth Rock at us, after which Bubble barely doesn't KO somehow, but drops his speed, so we can now outspeed and take him down after he potions. Then comes the big threat, Cranidos, after we level up, which is allowed in Hardcore Nuzlocke, so you just have to be at or below the level cap when the battle starts. He outspeeds and hits us with Leer to drop our defense, and then Bubble does just less than half, but does drop his speed. Then our Quick Claw also activates, bringing him into the red, then Headbutt slams us to a third. Sheesh. But with that speed drop, it seems we're in the clear, not having to bring Onix out in the end after all. Not bad at all. We also get the Stealth Rock TM for winning, which could be handy on a Steel team. Shortly after the battle, we have our first evolution as Hydrogenix evolves into a Prinplup, which doesn't matter at all. It's still not a Steel type despite trying to deceive us by learning Metal Claw. Sorry buddy, into the trash you go. With Rock Smash now in hand, we can pick up the Rock Tomb TM in the Ravaged Path, then we arrive in Floroma Town, a great respite after that rocky hellhole of an industrial town. And berries actually grow here too, so we can pick up some orange. In the Floroma Meadow comes something crucial, the Honey Man, who weirdly enough is going to make it possible to get a potential encounter via the honey trees later. Before that though, we have to take on Commander Mars in the Valley Windworks, and boy oh boy do we ever have a perfect counter for this battle. You see, she leads with a Zubat, and apart from Absorb and Toxic, it can't do much against us, being slammed by a Rock Throw. Don't be fooled, Onix is surprisingly fast for a giant rock monster. Her second Pokemon is Purugly, normally a huge threat, but with us resisting normal, she just has non-stab feint attack, so dropping her speed with Rock Tomb, and then repeatedly rock throwing her for better accuracy nets us the win at just less than half health remaining. Solid. Literally. Arriving at Eterna Forest has us meet Cheryl, who comes across as a weak and timid character who desperately needs a comfy buddy. I don't know what a comfy buddy is, I just felt like saying it. But don't be fooled, in her later battles she has the single highest average HP stat in the entire franchise out of thousands of trainers. Next up, Eterna City, where the next gym is, but we have an even greater priority, getting the Explorer Kit so we can go underground. This unlocks a ton of great items we need, along with other things that you'll see shortly. And shiver me timbers, the western part of Route 211 is open to us, meaning we can get our first actual Steel encounter, a Bronzor. And getting him first is important for a particular reason. I name him Jinzo, and he has a hasty plus speed and minus defense nature. pretty much the worst possible. But we can't be sad for long, as Mount Coronet is technically accessible to us now, where we can get our next encounter, a 5% nose pass. You see, Bronzor is a 20% encounter in here, so it was crucial that we get Bronzor first on the other route, as we almost would have inevitably locked ourselves out of a nose pass had we come here first. Encounter mapping for the win. I named nose pass Big Core, and he has a sassy plus special defense and minus speed nature, which is actually fantastic. And because Mount Coronet is a magnetic field area and we won't miss any level up moves in doing so, we might as well immediately evolve Big Core into a Probopass, gaining the Steel type. With those two captures, we're now forced to box Prinplup and Onyx until they evolve. Running into the single most desirable woman in Sinnoh, she gives us the Cut HM, which would be a very big help at this point, but we can't use it until after the gym, unfortunately. Now, I put the game down for the day after this, but came back up 6 hours later to just check on our honey trees, and yes! In Route 205 Southern Tree, we found a Burmy, which is female. I name her Labyrinth, and she has a sassy plus special defense and minus speed nature like Big Core, which is really good. Using her in the Eternicity gym means we can bring her to level 20, where she evolves into a Wormadam Trash Cloak form, since she was indoors at the time of level up, making her a part Steel type. I bet lots of people didn't see that one coming. With that, we can challenge the second gym leader, Gardenia, and I got HPVs on our Mons like hardcore for this battle. She leads with a Turtwig, and I'm really hoping this thing doesn't go for Reflect. We hit a Bug Bite, which barely doesn't KO on a Sliver, but she just goes for Sunny Day, allowing us to take it down in 2 more after she heals. Nice. Next comes Cherim, and here's the thing. Not only do we have a stab super effective bug move against it, but we also 4 times resist the Grass type. So, there was no hope for it, taking it down in 2 hits. Then comes her normally quite scary, fully evolved Roserade this early on, but we also have immunity to poison too. Labyrinth is the perfect Gardenia counter, and even though we got paralyzed by Stun Spore, by purposefully not putting an item on, we can steal its held Citrus Berry with Bug Bite to heal us fully, only allowing her to get 29 HP damage on us the entire battle, even with her using 2 super potions. Labyrinth, you savage. With the second badge in hand, we have a pivotal development, being able to use Cut to get the Thief TM. Yes, we can get type boosting items from it, one benefit, but also don't forget that Bronzor can also hold metal coats in the wild, which of course have a secondary effect. It took me an hour to go through 18 10% encounter Bronzors, but eventually we got it in the form of a carefully wrapped present. With that in hand, we can now trade evolve Onyx, holding it to get a monster Steelix at the earliest possible point in the game. Let's go. And who better to test him out against than Commander Jupiter, who awaits us at the top of the Eterna Galactic building. She leads with a Zubat, and Viacroid is a terrifying prospect for her, tanking a Giga Drain with ease and then obliterating it with a single Rock Throw. Then comes her Skuntank, a big threat at this point in the game as a fully evolved Pokemon with a 70 power stab, high critical hit ratio Night Slash. She lowered our defense with Screech before we missed Rock Tomb, then she starts smoke screening to lower our accuracy. Seeing how this could get scary, I go for Sandstorm to get guaranteed chip damage at least, then switch into Big Core just to reset Viacroid's accuracy. I decide to stay in and hit her with a couple Rock Throws before she lowers our accuracy again, so I switch back into Viacroid a couple turns later after her Citrus Berry activated and the Sandstorm stopped. Fortunately, Night Slash is resisted, so Viacroid has no problem tanking a couple of them with base 200 defense, and it's a Rock Throw versus Night Slash battle from there, with us not even being brought to half before a final one ends the battle. Man, I love these 2 team members. I got my Clefairy back, and it's all thanks to you. Wait, whose Bunnery is that then? Wait, sir, you thief! Get back here, you little— Picking up some Rostberries along the way, which I think we might make great use of later, we can then find the secret entrance to Wayward Cave. In Diamond and Pearl, this isn't accessible yet since you need strength, but Platinum opened the floodgates, allowing us access to the Earthquake TM. Oh boy. Now Steelix doesn't actually learn it by level up in this game and doesn't learn a single ground move except Mud Slap if you can believe it, so I think he's the obvious choice to teach it to. Oh, and by the way, don't dare go into the Wayward Cave main entrance ever. I got trapped in there once with Myra and no repels, no escape rope, and no flash. I legit felt like I soft locked the game on myself. It was brutal. Arriving in Hearthome, we encounter our mom, a former celebrity contest competitor apparently. Who knew? I mean, she never told me. Before, Fantina. Here comes my French school trauma again. Damn you, Canadian education system. Well, it's time to overcome that trauma by facing Fantina in battle at her gym. This isn't just a battle against a gym leader, it is a battle against France. Sorry to all my French viewers. And of course, just after I get a Steelix with Earthquake, we face a gym leader who has 3 Pokemon, all with Levitate. Why do you torture me so, Game Freak? She leads with a Duskull, and I lead with Viacroid regardless. Rock Throw does a quarter before she burns us, but I had attached one of those Rost Berries from earlier. I then start the Sandstorm, and she misses her next burn attempt. Nice. Rock Throw then brings her to a third as she hit a Future Sight, but another on the next turn gets the KO without us being burned at all. I'm actually surprised. In comes a huge threat though, Miss Magius. I want to lower this thing's speed immediately, so after she hits a Magical Leap for a 5th or so, I land Rock Tomb. It doesn't do much damage, but combined with the speed drop and the Sandstorm damage, it was definitely worth it. Future Sight then hits us before I make the switch into Labyrinth as we get confused right away. Shadow Ball then hits for not much since we resist it, but then we hit ourselves in confusion. We then hit ourselves twice more as she also dropped our special defense, meaning the part of my strategy where I steal and eat her citrus berry was foiled entirely. Not good. That was a pivotal part of my plan. I switch back into Viacroid for the Shadow Ball to below half, then get hit to a quarter before getting up to Sandstorm again at least. The purpose of this is twofold though. Yes, chip damage, but also after getting hit once more to just 4 HP, which I needed to risk to get the Rock Tomb off and activate her berry, I can now switch into Big Core, whose special defense is boosted by Sandstorm since he's part rock. This allows us to tank her attacks quite well, and even though we got confused and crit by one of her attacks, our berry helped and allowed us to take her down with 27 HP remaining. In comes her final Pokemon, Haunter, which misses its Hypnosis, and we hit our Thunder Wave to paralyze it. Beautiful. Big Core then comes in clutch as it misses another, we hit her down low, then we tank a Shadow Claw with ease, just completely eat it up before a final attack takes her down and wins us our 3rd badge. Big Core is a legend. Immediately following our gym battle, Barry challenges us in the gate ahead, now boasting a team of 4. He leads with an Intimidate Staravia, so I lead with Big Core. He can't hurt us at all, as 2 Rock Throws barely don't KO after he double teams, but then suddenly he uses Endeavor to slam us down to the same HP level he's at before Rock Throw then takes him down and our berry activates. Sheesh. Weasel could then be handled by Labyrinth as Bug Bite and Mirror Shot barely don't KO since he growled to lower our attack, then preemptively switches into Ponyta. 4x super effective fire is not a good look, so I switch into Viacroid since he only has Ember at this point and demolish him with a stab super effective 100 power Earthquake from a base 85 attack Pokemon. Savage. I then stay in against Weasel 2 to take him down from the red, and then in comes his now evolved starter, Grottle. Fortunately, we have the perfect counter, Labyrinth, who I kept at high health for this reason. Grottle can do absolutely nothing against our 4x resistance as 3 super effective Bug Bites do the trick. Picking up the Steel Wing TM for us just outside Salacion Town, we can then enter the Lost Tower to pick up a second return TM, always handy. I then got locked in a battle with some dude who had a Pichu that spammed Nasty Plot, which was actually making me quite nervous aside from having a ground type in our reserves, but he proceeded to spam nothing but Tail Whip and Sweet Kiss against us after being like +6. Okay then. Deep in the Salacion Ruins, we have an amazing find as both the Mind Plate and the Odd Incense are in here, great for boosting the psychic moves of Jinzo the Bronzor. Further up north, we can grab a new encounter from Route 210, this time a Scyther, which I catch successfully and name Mechlord. Mechlord has a rash plus special attack and minus special defense nature, not great, but he has the Technician ability, boosting the power of moves with 60 power or less. Amazing, much better than Swarm. And after a while of searching underground, I finally found a skull fossil, which you can only get if your trainer ID is an even number. What? Kept you waiting? I literally exited and came right back in. Impatience much? Anyway, from reviving it, we get a shield on that I name Megaton, and who has a timid plus speed and minus attack nature. That is plainly the worst possible one we could have gotten, so much so that I even tweeted about it. Oh well, still excited to see it, not too often we get a future Bastiodon. Picking up the Roost TM along the way, we next arrive in Veilstone City where the 4th gym is located, and boy oh boy are there ever some great game corner prizes available for us. Silk Scarf, Swords Dance, Substitute, Gyro Ball, man oh man. Before committing to the grind though, I hit up the department store to buy some TMs like Protect, Light Screen, and Reflect. Moving south to Route 214 before the gym, here we can finally get citrus berries, meaning we are quite well stocked up now. And the Dig TM is also nearby too. Having obtained another metal coat from a wild Bronzor, we can also trade evolve our Scyther into a beastly Scizor. One of my top 20 favorite Pokemon for sure. I also leveled up Scyther to level 21 so that he got Wing Attack, then you can trade evolve him immediately to also have him get Metal Claw at the same level. Pretty cool. While training up for the gym, Shieldon evolves into a monster Bastiodon, which admittedly won't be very helpful right now with its 4 times weakness to the next gym. Aw yeah, these are some elite strats. Citrus Berry was replaced with the Citrus Berry. Ain't nobody play this game like I do, because their IQ is higher than 30. It's time for the 4th gym leader, Maylene, the fighting specialist. With a steel team, this is quite a frightening prospect, and further to that, Bronzor unfortunately can't evolve until the level just after the cap. Regardless, I did find a TM in Orberg Gate that might help us. I lead with Mechlord against her Metatite, and after Fake Out, we can use Swords Dance now that I got it from the game corner. However, Metatite goes for Rock Tomb, dropping our speed. Not good, but at least a Wing Attack from there can take her out, but we did get hit to nearly half by Pure Power Drain Punch. In comes Lucario next, which also hits a Drain Punch, but no crit, and our berry helps us, and now I can unleash our newly obtained TM, Brick Break, for the super effective +2 one-hit KO. Wonderful. Gotta love Mechlord not being weak to fighting. His final Pokemon is Machoke, and after the speed drop, even it outspeeds us with Karate Chop, which wouldn't have even KO'd with a crit, so we were safe to get the clean sweep for the 4th batch. I'm starting to like Mechlord even more now. A blackout. They really will use any excuse, huh? Worse than Mike Tyson after a loss.
What was the problem?
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
I've always relied on the old coin toss to make any decision. It gives me courage because I'm not accountable for my decisions. Now that's a philosophy I could adopt. Perfect lesson for a kid's game, I'd say. Well, would have been helpful earlier, but I can't complain as Jinzo evolves into a defensive powerhouse, Bronzong. Love this thing, unless I'm facing it in battle. Looking ahead, I decide to teach the Shockwave TM we found on Route 211 to Big Core. Why, you might ask? Well, this gives us a perfect counter to Barry's lead as he challenges us in Pastoria. Now we can nail Staravia low, get hit with Endeavor yet again, but this time we don't have to worry about double team as Shockwave cannot miss, allowing us the KO in a safer manner than last time. In comes Weasel next, for which I send in our newly evolved Bronzong, who absolutely walls the heck out of it and takes it down in a couple extra sensories. Now we are a Levitate Bronzong, not heat proof, so Ponyta is better handled by Viacroid, and what do you know, he just went for Tail Whip anyway, so bye-bye! His final Pokemon is Grottle, again being hard countered by our lovely bug thing. No, seriously, what is this? Peace off, Barry! And an incredible development occurs next, as with the new level cap, we can finally evolve Prinplup fully, giving us a part Steel type Empoleon, possibly my second favorite fully evolved starter of all time. I'm weird, I know. This gives us a wonderful defensive mon against the water gym, so I'm gonna replace Megaton with him for now. The 5th gym leader is Wake, quite the challenging trainer in most runs. He leads with an Intimidate Gyarados, and I lead with Big Core. Looks weird since we're weak to water, I know, but I taught him 4 times super effective Thunderbolt from the game corner. With that being said, I kid you not, he flinched us twice in a row with Waterfall, completely nullifying my strategy, and we got hit to exactly 1 HP by the second. Goodness gracious, that was much closer than I thought it was going to be. Now we have a huge problem. No electric moves on any of our other Pokemon, and nothing great to switch in. Wanting to conserve Hydrogenics, our only option really is Labyrinth, who eats Waterfall for about a third, then we get hit again low before our Berry, and Psybeam hardly does anything, and no confusion. Oh boy. I have to switch, so in comes Mechlord, but 2 Waterfalls bring him low as well, and 1 Wing Attack at least brings him below half. I have no other choice really, so I go into Viacroid here, who eats up 2 in a similar fashion, and then Rock Throw just barely doesn't KO in the red. Oh no, this is not good. Well, in comes Hydrogenics way earlier than I wanted, and with now a full health Gyarados after he healed. I just repeatedly spam return against him, and it is a slugfest, with us eventually taking him down at good health thanks to our berry. Quagsire is up next with super effective ground moves, so I go into Jinzo with Levitate for the prediction. Now I can use Hypnosis to put him to sleep, then Iron Defense to raise our defense, although we did get put to sleep by Yawn too. We then wake up before him, and Extrasensory takes 5 hits to KO since he healed, and he did get a crit Water Pulse on us, but no confusion. Jinzo, you might have just saved us. We did get Yawn before we KO'd though, so as Floatzel now comes in, I just Confuse Ray immediately before falling asleep. He did land Brine on us twice, but our berry heals us above half so it won't do double damage, and he hits himself in confusion. Yes! He then snaps out though and hits us below half, and we do wake up for the Extrasensory to a third, but then his berry heals him. Well, it's time to bring in the defensive monster, Hydrogenix, who walls Floatzel quite hard, which is why I wanted him alive. And at good health too. From here we can land 2 more returns to seal the deal, being brought to a third in the process. Whew, that got real scary real quick, but the team pulled through. Man, Looker really wants us to get out of here. Are you flirting with that officer, my dude? Hey, the Psyduck, my boys. Time to spray them with the poison that the champion gave us. Are you proud, Mommy Cynthia? Huh, the old charm. That's what your grandma is. Wait, Grandma Wilma? No, that's the wrong grandma. Ah, it is you again. Wait, what? We've never met.
I know everything.
On Route 210, we can grab a Great TM Shadow Ball, which might be useful for a later encounter of ours. Reaching Celestic Town, we can then hit up the Glasses guy to get the black glasses, but more importantly, the choice specs at a different time of day. In the Celestic Ruins, we encounter Cyrus in battle for the first time, and boy oh boy do we ever have a counter for him, with Big Core smashing his Sneasel with Rock Slide for the 2-hit KO, although we did get frozen by Ice Punch for 6 turns. You have got to be kidding me. One thing that's crazy about Gen 4 is that you could technically get frozen endlessly, as it's just a mere 20% chance to thaw out every turn. Good thing we had our citrus berry, sheesh. Then Golbat comes in, which we can fry with 3 Thunderbolts after he healed, and flinched us with Bite too. Man oh man. His final Pokemon is Murkrow, which I know has Nightshade as its max damage output, which does as much HP as its level, so we can survive on a Sliver and take it down with a final T-Bolt. Good riddance. For winning, Cynthia's grandma gives us a wicked HM, Surf, which is going to boost Hydrogenix's power a ton, and unlock many cool things for us too. Before that though, on the Canalave City Bridge, we're challenged by Barry, and I think I have a good plan for his team, despite him having 5 Pokemon now. I lead with Hydrogenix against the Staraptor and nail him in 1 hit with our newly learned Ice Beam after he nearly double teamed. That's some power. As hoped, this baits in his Heracross, perfect as I can switch in Mechlord to tank Brick Break, then tank another before we land a 4-time super effective Technician boosted Wing Attack, our only good answer to him. This then baits in Rapidash, a perfect opportunity to get Hydrogenix back out there and surf him into oblivion. The final bait-in is Torterra, exactly what I wanted, as I know we can outspeed with the 4-time super effective Ice Beam 1-hit KO, not worrying about his ground type. His final Pokemon is then Floatzel, which we wall entirely with resistance to all 4 of his moves, so a few returns seal the deal, and that was a solid battle. At the south end of the city, we can grab a wicked TM for Scizor in particular, U-Turn. With that, it's time to hit up the 6th gym, led by our Steel-type arch-nemesis, Byron. And honestly, the strat was pretty simple here. Attach a Rostberry to Viacroid just in case Tri-Attack from Magneton burns us, Rock Polish to raise our speed, and then go all in with Earthquake to take down all 3 of his Pokemon quite easily, only having to tank 1 Earthquake from his Steelix, which wouldn't have even KO'd with a crit. A well-deserved break, I'd say. We also get an amazing TM for our team, Flash Cannon, for winning the only way you can get it in this game. At this point, I had those thoughts coming to mind about a possible deathless run, as we are doing really well so far. And we've arrived at our Steel-type home away from home, Iron Island, where a bunch of great things await. First, the Iron Tail TM, but also a magnet to boost electric moves, and another metal coat merely to boost our Steel-type moves, without having to use Thief on a million Bronzors. After Riley and I slam him to the ground, this grunt goes full millennial and says, "Your combination is so sick." But more importantly, Riley gifts us with our next encounter, an egg which, damn it, I have no room to take it. Well, that's awkward. Okay, my headcanon here is that someone just absolutely unloaded in the library bathroom right at this moment. Now having Surf, we can grab another Thunderbolt TM north of the Valley Windworks without having to grind the game corner for an eternity. This is going to be key for our very next encounter, also accessible now thanks to Surf at the Fuego Ironworks. And I swear I encountered at least 40 Pokemon before finding it, despite it being tied as the most common Pokemon on the route, Magnemite. I name him Gate Guardian, and he ends up having, no way, a modest nature plus special attack and minus attack. Bloody perfect. Alright, all our crap natures thus far have been worth it now. Remembering to pick up the Toxic TM on Route 212, I then also head back to Pastoria with Surf now to get the Mystic Water to boost its power. Talk about self-replicating. In the Lake Valor Cavern, we encounter Commander Saturn, the relatively forgotten one I'd say, and Jinzo does a great job against his Pokemon apart from his fellow Bronzor line Pokemon, now having Psychic from the game corner for super effectiveness against Golbat and Toxicroak. Levitate Bronzor sure was a struggle for our team type-wise though, Empoleon's raw Surf power was needed to finish him. In Lake Verity, we also challenged Commander Mars, and this time I just let Hydrogenix rip with Ice Beam on Golbat and then spammed Mystic Water boosted Surf on Bronzor and Perugly for the W, not even being brought to half. Well, it sure took a while, but after 6,600 steps, our egg finally hatches to give us a Riolu, which I nickname Gear Frame. Gear Frame has a relaxed plus defense and minus speed nature. Not great, but I add him to the team in place of Wormadam. To get the Steel type as soon as possible, I use the Soothe Bell and Veilstone Massages to increase his friendship and evolve him into a wicked cool Lucario. Let's go. During our trip through Mount Coronet, we pick up the Light Clay item to extend the duration of Light Screen and Reflect, and also the Soft Sand to boost ground moves, and the Never Melt Ice to do the same for Ice. Speaking of Ice, following the hellish snow routes, we finally arrive in Snow Point City where the next gym is. Figuring out the gym puzzles surprisingly quick this time, it didn't take me an hour, that's a first. We're challenged by the 7th gym leader, Candice. Now Candice can be a complete nightmare if you're not prepared, but with a Steel type team, I'm feeling pretty confident going in. She leads with a Sneasel, and here I lead with Gear Frame with the Choice Specs attached, getting the 4x super effective Stab Choice Specs boosted 90 power Aura Sphere KO on her, that poor thing, after it merely landed an Aerial Ace. Piloswine was then an easy one-hit KO as well, and as hoped, in comes Abomasnow next because it has Focus Blast. And this is what the Choice Specs were for, giving us enough power to one-hit KO even that beast. Her final Pokemon is a Snowcloak Frostlass, for which I send in Mechlord. She double teams, making her near impossible to hit, but I know that we can at least out-prioritize with Technician Bullet Punch, which does hit, but barely doesn't KO. But then, amazingly, we hit our next one too, finishing off the battle. Man, I love this team. 7 badges. Moving forward, I'm going to replace Probopass with Magnemite for now, who quickly evolves into a Magneton. Fortunately, in this game, all we have to do is hit up any part of Mount Coronet to evolve Gate Guardian fully into a savage, modest nature Magnezone. Can't wait to try this thing out. Okay, yeah, this is my new catchphrase. I am the gruntiest of grunts. I feel you, my friend. I feel you. At the end of the Veilstone HQ, we run into Cyrus for a second time, and this time, I want to give our good old Bastiodon a chance to shine. His Sneasel hits an Ice Punch, which doesn't freeze us this time around, and I go for Iron Defense to raise our defense to sky-high levels, after which an Ice Punch hardly touches us. We do miss Rock Tomb, but land our next one for over half. A repeat of that nets us the KO, after which his now fully evolved Crobat comes in and confuses us. We hit ourselves, but then we snap out on the next turn for the Rock Tomb damage, and again, he can't touch us at all with Bite, so even though he flinches us and full restores too, we can land a few more to end him with only a 3rd damage on the board. His final Pokemon is now his fully evolved Honchkrow, another Pokemon we resist both types of, but Nightshade is sort of a way through our defenses. With that said, our berry helps us and we can land too, and normally we would be KO'd here, but because of the Rock Tomb speed drops, I know we could get it, but I don't want to lose Megaton just for the purpose of an ego sweep, so I switch into Big Core to get the job done. Fantastic. Oh, hey look, a Razor Claw on the floor. Wow.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
In the basement, we can release the 3 pixie thingies, and man, I realized I must be jacked. No one physically tries to stop me ever. They just like battle and then accept the result. They could just stand in front of me, beat me up, and okay, well, my only conclusion is that they can't. Too jacked. Heading up to the summit of Mount Coronet, we can grab a pivotal TM along the way, Rock Slide, before then arriving at Spear Pillar, where we're challenged by Jupiter and Mars in a double battle. Now this battle can be a ton of trouble. However, I think we have the perfect answer. Hydrogenix with the Choice Specs attached. I literally just spammed Surf, a Choice Specs boosted 95 power stab move from a base 111 special attack Pokemon that can hit both opposing Pokemon in double battles. And it doesn't matter if it hits my double battle partner because those are all Barry's Pokemon. And with Empoleon's defenses and resistance to almost every single move their entire teams have, honestly, this has got to be one of the safest ways to get through this. Gotta love it. After some legendary madness ensues, with the same number of legendaries as there were in total in Gen 2 on the screen at once, it's time to head to the Distortion World. No, seriously, Game Freak was so wild for accomplishing this on the DS. What a masterpiece. It's time for the final battle with Team Galactic boss Cyrus, and boy oh boy is his team ever tough, especially leading off with a damn Houndoom against our Steel team. Naturally, the only choice was to go in with Hydrogenix and tank a flamethrower for a third before wiping it off the map with Surf. In comes Gyarados next, which I was hoping to bait in as Intimidate doesn't affect us, and then we can switch into Jinzo for the Earthquake prediction, which works. Let's go. But then I realized I accidentally taught him Light Screen instead of Reflect. Uh-oh, that shatters my whole plan. Regardless, I stay in and try to slug it out, Waterfall versus Psychic, then switch to Confuse Ray, and good timing as he switched into Honchkrow preemptively. Ooh boy, out-predicted his prediction it seems. Here I go into Empoleon predicting the Heat Wave, which it misses, then it hits itself in confusion next turn and I can blast it with the Ice Beam KO. A wild sequence. In comes Gyarados again, and I can pull the same stun with Jinzo's Levitate, followed by Confuse Ray after our berry helps us from Waterfall. I then start landing Psychics, and our confusion luck is good enough that we bring him to just a sliver, but he full restores. So damn close. We're then only able to bring him to half, so here I go into Mechlord to tank 2 before hitting him again to the red with Wing Attack. And he should outspeed us, but I realize I should be able to save us with a stab priority technician boosted Bullet Punch, which does get the range to KO. In comes Crobat next, for which I switch into Gate Guardian the Legend, tanking Air Slash with ease and unleashing an unholy stab super effective 95 base power, 145 base special attack, Choice Specs boosted Thunderbolt to fry that bat and the Weavile that follows. Wow. What a battle, we pulled that off even through a moveset blunder. Ooh, it's time for Giratina, the big boogeyman monster thing. Alright, let's put some respect on his name. This is one of the best legendaries of all time. Empoleon just happens to wall the hell out of him. You know, Send-Off Spring is such a weird place. I mean, we were on this route before, and they just suddenly invented a path that wasn't there before. Alright, with that, we've made it to Sunny Shore City, one of my faves, and I'm going to add Viacroid the Steelix back on the team, and I'm sure you can guess why. That's right, the 8th and final gym leader is Volkner, the electric-type gym leader, and I put the metronome item on Steelix to make moves used consecutively increasingly powerful. Since his lead Jolteon can't do anything to us, I take the opportunity to use Rock Polish 3 times in a row, now allowing us to outspeed his entire team. And with our attack investment and the metronome, stab super effective 100 power Earthquake can one-hit KO his whole team. Never thought I'd see the day a Steelix outspeeds an entire electric team, including things like Jolteon, Raichu, Electivire. Just crazy. All 8 badges acquired. Hey, Barry, do you mind? I'm trying to talk to my friend from, oh god, 24 years ago? I'm getting old. Either way, I love cameos like this, just so cool. It's time for the final path, Victory Road, and I realized that after playing this game endlessly, I still have no idea what I'm doing. But somehow finding my way through, we next arrive at our final destination, the Sinnoh Region Pokemon League. But one last challenge awaits us before the Elite Four, our final rival battle against Barry, whose team is just nuts. Against the Staraptor lead, I go with Jinzo this time around, getting hit by close combat which would destroy the rest of our team, and I get Reflect Up with the Light Clay for 8 turn duration. He then U-turns into Rapidash as Psychic does less than half. Here I switch into our only answer, Hydrogenix, but he went for Bounce. Interesting. It does like nothing and no paralysis, so Surf drowns that Fire Unicorn. And as hoped, this baits in Torterra, again leading to the Ice Beam 1-hit KO. Huge. I mean, the play, not Torterra, but he's pretty big too. This brings in Heracross next, a huge threat with close combat now, and my strat is to switch into Mechlord, who gets hit with it for a quarter thanks to Reflect. Another then brings us to half as we can respond with the 4x damage Wing Attack 1-hit KO. Floatzel's up next, and Gate Guardian is now the perfect switch, except for the fact that Floatzel now has Brick Break apparently, which is not only super effective, but shatters our Reflect too. Regardless, we survive too, and respawn with the Thunderbolt 1-hit KO. Snorlax is up next, and here I switch into Jinzo for a twofold purpose, to make sure he's going for Earthquake on Magnezone, then get the Levitate immunity and set up Reflect, then confuse him with Confuse Ray while tanking Crunches. Now I can reasonably safely hit him with 2 Psychics and then switch into Gear Frame for the Aura Sphere KO after he hit himself. With Reflect still up, I leave in Gear Frame against Staraptor, and we actually outspeed, 1-hit KOing it with a Choice Specs Aura Sphere. Damn. Brilliant job, team. After fulfilling the rest of our EVs, strategizing like crazy, and getting any remaining items and TMs we might need, it's time for the Elite Four with this final selected team. The first Elite Four member is Aaron, the Bug-type expert, and I thought of a pretty cool strat here. I lead with Mechlord against his Yanmega, and the big threat here is Speed Boost and Double Team. But I retaught him Agility and got rid of Wing Attack for Aerial Ace, which cannot miss. That way I can get Swords Dance off too, adequately preparing us to then sweep through his team with super effective Wing Attack, apart from his Scizor, which went down from a couple Brick Breaks, and Drapion, which I played it very safe against and switched into Steelix to wall and smash with 2 Earthquakes. A very good start. The second Elite Four member is Bertha, the ground trainer, an absolute nightmare for our Steel team. With that said, I came up with a bit of a plan for her, except right after formulating it, I accidentally led with the wrong Pokemon like an idiot. No way. I switch into Jinzo, not only hoping for the Earth Power, but also going for the Hypnosis, but we missed. Oh man. A second Aqua Tail brings us near half, and then I land it to put her to sleep. I then get Reflect Up, and then use Confuse Ray while she's still asleep to better our odds. I then hit a Gyro Ball for the range, and now I switch into Empoleon knowing she wouldn't use a ground move while Jinzo is out there, and she stays asleep anyway, so I now proceed to Choice Spec Surf it for the KO. In comes Hippowdon, a bulky monster, but Hydrogenix has enough power to take it down too. And here is the key. Gliscor outspeeds us and Earthquake is dangerous, but with Reflect Up we're able to tank it safely and then surf it into Oblivion. Just like we can do for her subsequent Golem and Rhyperior too, even with Sandstorm boosting their special defense. Wow. The third Elite Four member is an even scarier one. Flint, the trainer I have been probably fearing the most out of any, but I came up with a devious strategy to try to outdo him. He leads with Houndoom, and I go in with Jinzo, who I know I've invested in special defense, and he survives a flamethrower just at half before getting up Light Screen. We just need to not get crit on the next one, and we don't, and we land Hypnosis thanks to the wide lens I had attached on him. Now I switch into Steelix, and for my plan to work, he just needs to stay asleep on this turn, and he does. Whew. But then he wakes up on the next and Flamethrower hits us hard. Oh no. I need one more Rock Polish and we just can't get crit, and we don't, but we do get burned. But I attached a Rostberry for this reason. Let's go. I get the second one off just as Light Screen goes down, and now we can outspeed and slam it, his Flareon, and Rapidash with Earthquake. But then in comes Infernape, which does have priority Mach Punch, and I redid my calcs, and because Houndoom woke up so early, it turns out we have a 40% chance not to survive it. I spent forever deciding, but ultimately decided to just go for it, but what? He outspeeds with Flare Blitz of all things? I swear my speed calcs were right, but apparently not. Oh no. Our first death of the run. Now what? After a while of thinking, it turns out our only hope is to send out Gearframe, who outspeeds and slams into the red with Aura Sphere, and then Flare Blitz slams us for the instant KO, but gets the recoil damage KO that I wanted. I think this was the only way to get by, as otherwise with Empoleon damaged at all, Magmortar could have swept our entire team with a surprising 83 base speed. Damn Steel types and being slow. Surprisingly, as Magmortar and Empoleon both come out, he went for Solar Beam, not Thunderbolt, so we didn't have to risk paralysis and can smash him with Surf for the victory. Ouch. Well, at least we made it through one of the biggest challenges imaginable. Up next is Lucian, the Psychic Trainer, with a Gallade and close combat of all things. Naturally, our only option was to lead with Mechlord against Mr. Mime, and I set up 1 Agility and 1 Swords Dance. Now he did set up Reflect, which you'd imagine would kind of stop our plan, but I kept Brick Break, smashing the screen, and then even when he uses Thunderbolt, I'm not worried, as I have a Cherry Berry attached. So from there, with our increased speed, we can devastate his entire team with X-Scissor, which I taught via TM from Route 221 south of Sandgem. Told you it would come in handy. Well, it's time. The final battle, the champion of the Sinnoh region herself, Cynthia. And boy oh boy, I don't think I have to say much about her incredibly versatile team. Using our remaining rare candies, and with my best plan in place and only 4 Pokemon remaining, let's give this a go. Against her lead Spiritomb, I lead with Hydrogenix, a nice neutral matchup for us as Surf does over half. We resist all of its moves, so we tank Dark Pulse with ease and KO it with another. Now, I purposefully led this way to bait in Garchomp, knowing we could tank an Earthquake because I attached a Shuka Berry, weakening its power, and respawn with the 4x super effective Ice Beam to eliminate her biggest threat. I breathed a sigh of relief on that one, I'll tell ya. But in comes Lucario next, so I switch into Jinzo, our resident Lucario counter, who eats up an Aura Sphere, although it did do a surprising amount, bringing us to half after 2. All I wanted was to get the light screen up though, protecting us against basically the rest of her Pokemon. I also get Reflect up for good measure since she can't hurt us much now, then switch into Mechlord to tank 2 Aura Spheres and 1 Stone Edge thanks to our berry, and respawn with the Brick Break KO after she full restores. In comes a giant threat next, Togekiss, which unfortunately isn't weak to Steel in this gen, but I switch into Gate Guardian here to tank Air Slash and Aura Sphere with the help of Light Screen to then respawn with a massive power Choice Specs Thunderbolt KO. Then, another big threat, Milotic, is her best option, succumbing to a single Thunderbolt as well despite being such a bulky mon. Her final Pokemon is Roserade, and to add insult to injury, I switch into Scizor for the 4x Grass Resistance and resistance to every one of her moves, but she gets a crit extrasensory, but Mechlord tanks it in the red on just 29 HP and can annihilate her with a final X-Scissor to win us the battle and the war. What a clutch team, only 4 Pokemon and deathless against Cynthia. You'll love to see it. Well, we did it. We beat a Hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Platinum with only Steel types. Couldn't quite get the deathless win I was hoping for, but wow did I ever love the roster we had. So many unique strategies we could employ against a tough game. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe if you did enjoy it, and I'll see you guys next time for another challenge video.